We aren't here simply to be visible. We are here to be victorious.
Since 2019, the National Trans Visibility March has been bringing together thousands of community members and allies in a historic march through our nation's capital, all in a united effort to make our voices heard. Now, as the march prepares for its 7th year, the fight for rights is entering a new era, pioneered by a decorated community leader.
I am so grateful to step into a position that is of deep importance to me. We can no longer be unseen, unheard, and uninvolved. The time is now to unite as a community and stand tall.
Join us June 3rd through the 8th as we celebrate our strides and create a future we can be proud of.
Thank you, Dr. Lulu. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. I am excited for another National Trans Visibility March virtual activation. This week, we are talking about healing and how healing is revolutionary, a revolutionary act. As we get started, I would love it if you would like this post, comment, tell us where you're listening from, share this post for anyone that you think may benefit from the conversation and anyone who may just want to listen in. I have some amazing leaders here with me today. I want to share with you that we will be in Washington, D.C. this June 3rd through the 8th at the National Trans Visibility March, working in partnership with World Pride. You can register for the Policy and Safety Summit if you have not already done so. We have a few seats left, and we want you all to make sure that you register at ntvmarch.org so that we can make sure you have a seat in the place. So welcome to my guests. I am going to have everyone introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what organization you represent. And then we're going to get started. Let's start with Toy, and then we'll go to Truth, and then Dr. Lulu.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Elijah, for picking up the torch and carrying this march through this particular time that we're in right now. I appreciate you. I celebrate you. And I support you. I'm Toy Washington Reynolds, pronouns she, her, founder and executive director of the Trans Women of Color Healing Project here in Georgia.
Stand in gratitude for this opportunity, Dr. Elijah. I am Truth Divine, calling on or sitting in from North Carolina. I am a North Carolina rehabilitation counselor, as well as a LMC, licensed mental health counselor associate here in North Carolina. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey everyone, me llamo Doctora Lulu. My name is Dr. Lulu. I am a pediatrician, a life coach. I go by she, her, Mama Beast, and I'm here representing my kid who is going to be 27 this month. Who knew? Whew. And of course, my nonprofit, which helps find affirming homes for LGBT plus kids who are experiencing homelessness or houselessness. It's called Dr. Lulu's Angels Haven Incorporated. I'm so excited to be here.
And I'm so excited to have all of you amazing beings here. I know each one of you personally, so we've had some wonderful conversations and I've done some work together, over the past couple of years. And one of the things that we're doing differently this year at the National Trans Visibility March during our Policy and Safety Summit specifically is we're having it's called Guardians of Care. Is that right, Truth? Truth, thank you for coming up with that name. It is the Guardians of Care Wellness Room. And I will tell you that one of the ways this idea came up was when I was at the Creating Change conference this year, and Dr. Lulu and Truth were working at was it the Care booth? Is that what it was called?
Care Bears.
Care Bear
Care
booth. And
Bears.
when I had gotten to a point where I was tired and I just needed a little rest and relaxation,
A little
I
love.
a little love, yes. I went and visited it, and I was like, "This is absolutely amazing." So, thank y'all for doing that booth. Toy, I don't know if you worked that at the Creating Change, but it was such a wonderful thing. And so then we're like, let's do this at the National Trans Visibility March because during the policy and safety summit, we'll be talking about like the way forward and what's happening, and there may be some pieces that people are triggered with. Maybe people aren't triggered. Maybe people just need to step away because we're in a very heavy time right now. We're talking about some heavy things, and then we also want to have a place where it's for neurodivergent folks. So we'll have a sensory space, doing some yoga, some all things wellness, and so that is where this idea came from. So I am encouraging everyone to register again and just know that we have a space of wellness for you there. And I want to start the conversation off by asking each of you, what is healing? You know, what does healing mean to you? And I'm asking this question from the perspective of, our title, our theme today is healing is revolutionary. And so what does that mean to you? And let's start with you, True.
Oh, well, thank you. For me, I say healing is it's a responsibility first to ourselves, and then to our ancestors. We have to remember that we are our ancestors' prayers in the flesh. And so because
Mm,
of that, we have to understand that we come with some of the traumas of our lineage. And in order for us to go to the next elevated stage of our best selves, we must begin the healing process because we cannot fully show up for others if we haven't shown up for ourselves. And we cannot show
mm,
up for ourselves if we haven't begun to heal those hurt places. Because as we all can attest to, hurt people, but healed people can then begin to reflect what healing looks like to others so that they can begin to start their healing process to become their
mhm.
best selves.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I love that you put our ancestors in there because oftentimes I think we forget about our ancestors and really the foundation that they have set for us and really the support that they still provide for us, right? Um, Dr. Lulu, what is healing to you? And before you answer, I want to offer for those of you watching, tell us in the comments, what is healing to you? Go ahead, Dr. Lulu.
I just wanted to hold space for really my sibling at this point who called on our ancestors. One of the things I say when people ask me, where do you live? Is I live everywhere because every ground that I walk on, if my footsteps on it, is my ancestral ground. So I take my ancestors with me wherever I go. I don't have a home and then I have a home. So thank you for bringing those people. And I might even add our future generations into the mix. Healing for me is it's not a personal thing. It cannot be. It has to be me, myself, I, my village, and of course the community and the world, which is why Michael Jackson's Heal the World was such a poignant song when it came out. We must all begin to heal together because healing is not a solitary thing. A tree cannot make a forest. I cannot be in my corner all healed up if everyone around me is hurting. So this is why it's a communal thing. I love this conversation. You came out swinging. I was like, okay, this is good. I'm loving it. So yes, healing for me is communal. It can never ever be an individual thing. But then again, it's also individual as it's communal. So it's complex.
Yes, it's individual and communal. I absolutely love that. Thank you, Dr. Lulu. And I want to recognize one of the comments, I believe it was Zeke said, let's talk about transcestors. When we talk about our ancestors, can you imagine the healing work that our transcestors did? Thank you for that comment, Zeke. Can you imagine they had to have been doing a lot of healing work because I want to say that, and I'm not taking this moment lightly. I want to say that, as hard as it is for us as trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, intersex folks, queer folks, parents of queer folks, family members, as hard as it is for us today, can you imagine what it was 100 years ago, right? I think sometimes I appreciate you bringing that up, Zeke. I think sometimes, I know I do, I forget like about our ancestors and the healing work that they did and the prayers that they did and the dances that they did and setting the foundation. So we could be here today and have this conversation. So absolutely want to recognize our ancestors. Thank you for that. Toy, what you got?
I just want to echo everything that was said. I think it's important that we realize that it is a self-identified journey. It's
Mm,
one that you personally identify, and it's going to look different for everyone. So that's why there has to be a level of grace that we give to folks and extend to them as they go through their healing journeys. Everyone's journey is going to look different, and we have to give them space to make sure that their journey represents them, all of them, and ensuring that there's not a part of them that they're leaving behind. All of the many intersections that we navigate and travel with, it's essential that we bring all of them into a space. And as guardians of care, as individuals, as healing practitioners, it's our job to create those spaces where community members can be themselves. And most importantly, one of the things I think is so important, when Zeke said about the transcestors, that's extremely powerful, because what happens is where spirits live in human experience, and energy doesn't die, it travels. And I believe that the same breath that we breathe, that we're breathing in every day, is the breath of our ancestors. It doesn't go away. So they're occupying us in these movements and in these spaces. So to highlight them is extremely paramount in the work that we do, because the lineage and the experience and the knowledge that they have implemented into all of these movements, into the spaces that we're in today, is the same breath that we occupy. That's why it's so important that we just understand the power of our breath. When you get exhausted, when you get fatigued, just take a moment and breathe. And that breath recharges you, because we're pulling in the energy of our ancestors and our ancestors that propel the work that we do and center our movements, and also give healing to us as we doing the work.
yes, yes, yes. I see Truth is over there about to explode. Just he over there dancing, just
So we're trying to
ready.
start so early in the day.
I know.
Listen, when it hits you, it just hits you. I'm gonna come to you, Truth, as I read Detanya. I think it's Detanya Ashanti. I hope I'm saying your name right. And thank you to everyone who is watching today. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. Please like and share this video, and remember to go to ntvmarch.org to register for the Policy and Safety Summit. So Detanya says, healing as a black woman of trans experience is reclaiming your worth in a world that tries to erase it. It's choosing joy, honoring your truth, and nurturing your body and spirit through rest, resistance, and self-love. It's not linear, but it's always powerful. Wow, that is good. Thank you so much for that comment. It's not linear, but it's always powerful. And I love that you said it's not linear, because sometimes we heal. I know for me, I'll speak I statements. Sometimes when I heal, I go through things, and I might get 24 months in, 2 years in, and then I'm triggered by something. And then I get upset with myself because I allow myself to be triggered. And I love that you said it's not linear, but every moment that we remember, hey, I've been here before. I have the tools. I have the tools to get through this. And so I want to come to you and stay on that point. Truth. What are some tools, like where somebody watching this has maybe not experienced therapy, has not experienced counseling, maybe either new to their transition or well along in their transition. Where does healing start? Like, if what advice do you have or tools do you have for someone who is in this space?
My the first thing that comes to spirit is start where you are, wherever that is. If it's crying, if it's yelling, and then reach out for support. So many times, I think what happened was, I think what we just read was very important, because when we first started healing, we want to be healed that day, that moment, right now, and this never ever come back. But I think it's so important that to remember that it is not linear, and the fact that it's going to look however it looks, and that's okay. Sometimes we want this nice wrapped up idea of what healing is. Healing can be everything and anything. It can be beautiful, it can be messy, it can be sticky. It is what it is. However, whatever is going to get you to feel it, that's how you're going to heal it. And the feeling is the part that we run from. We run from feeling it because no one has taught us how to feel a thing. You can feel a thing and not allow it to overtake you. So we have to feel it and then let it go. It's okay to have all of the emotions in the world. It's not okay to allow those emotions to overtake you. And so my thing would be, my suggestion, my offer would be to feel everything that you are feeling and then reach out for help. That doesn't have to be a therapist. Therapy isn't for everyone, but there's a healing path for everyone. So find your healing path. If your healing path is a life coach, if your healing path is walking in the forest, connecting with nature, grounding, meditation, there are so many healing modalities now that there's no limits. We used to say sky's the limit. There's no limits except for the limits you set for yourself. So as soon as that you're ready, go.
All right. I think we're coming back. Can you hear me, True?
Yeah, you see how that activation happens? So we got to talking and then
Listen, StreamYard mad about this healing conversation. You too can be healed, StreamYard. We gonna be nice to StreamYard though. Make sure we we continue this conversation.
yes, yes.
It's that frequency got a little bit too high for StreamYard.
I know it.
Maybe.
Listen, go ahead, Dr. Lulu. Unmute.
So where does healing start? I can't remember where we are. I also have a very neurospicy brain, so I just see a squirrel and it's over. I would say everyone has to really define what healing means to them. Kind of following up with what Truth said, for me, if I see someone else, what their healing practice might be may not be what I call healing. And I want to maybe hold space for everyone to do it however they feel. That said, I want to go back to something that Toy said early on, which was creating the space for our clients and for not forgetting to create them for ourselves. One of the biggest things that happens in the medical field, where I can speak at least for doctors, is a high suicide rate. That tells us that we haven't fully understood what the definition of healing means. Because if we did, we wouldn't have such a high suicide rate amongst the healers themselves. So I want to just hold space for the fact that while you want to define healing for yourself, it's also okay for you to take yourself out of the space to find healing. One of the most profound things I heard during the event we had last year in June was Pastor Washington saying he said once in a while you have to leave the church to find God. And remember, he said that. And so I'm saying, for those of us who are healers, it's okay for us to leave the space that is causing said trauma, said pain, said whatever, to find healing first before reintegrating yourself into the space. Or maybe not. Some of us have left the flock, so to say, because that's what it's going to take for us to heal. And I think being okay with that, which is what brings me back to your own personal definition of healing. For me, being a physician, this is my definition of being a physician, not seeing patients. And it's like, wait, what? Yeah, but that's my definition of being a physician, because I realize that healing is bigger than in an exam room. It's bigger than a little 6x8, right? So that's why I said, everyone define healing for yourself. And then when you know the true meaning of it, then you can speak that language. Almost like coming back to love languages, right? If you don't know your love language, you can't speak it. And you can't tell someone how to speak it to you because you don't really know it yet. So I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I wanted to just kind of throw that in there, that healing has to be self-defined and then act based on your own self-definition, if that makes sense. Okay.
I love that. Thank you so much for that response, Dr. Lulu. And I want to stay on that because, mentioning the unfortunate suicide rate among doctors, among physicians, among pastors, among leaders, it's amazing, and maybe amazing is not the word, maybe troubling, to recognize how many healers often get to the point where they feel they can't be healed. Because when you get to this space of like, I want to end it all, that means that in my mind, there's no more options, right? This is my healing option. And for some, that is the ultimate healing, right? So I don't want to discount or discredit that. The other thing that you said that I wanted to touch on is how removing yourself from the space is okay. I think that we as leaders, we often feel like, but if I take a vacation, if I take a break, who's going to do it? The work is not going to get done. And my response to that is, if you are not here, the work is going to get done. And so we would rather you be here happy, healthy, and whole versus not being here at all because you got to the breaking point, right? And so I think it's so important for us to heal along the journey, and realizing, like the Tonya said, it's not a linear journey. And as I come to you, Toy, one of the things that I wanted to mention is, oftentimes, in addition to us not taking time to heal, to do self-care, to self-reflect, I think that many of us don't realize the disservice that we do to and for community and to ourselves when we show up unhealed. Because going back to the very first thing you said, Truth, hurt people hurt people. I think that was you in the beginning. Hurt people hurt people. And so so I want to turn to you, Toy, because I could stay in that for a long time.
Yeah, and that's why these conversations are so needed and so important. I think the issue is that we don't have enough of these conversations, right? But for me, the question was, when does healing start? I would have to counter the question and ask, when does it stop?
Oh.
When does healing stop? Because healing is an ongoing daily act to me. It shows up every time we take a breath, subconsciously or unconsciously, right? Healing is something that happens with the breath. We're not in control of what happened. Every day that we wake up, we have activity of our limbs. Our daily purpose in life is to learn, is to kill a part of our past so our future can live. I believe that healing happens whether you want it to or not. Our job is to make sure we're creating spaces and enhancing and creating modalities and providing modalities so folks can understand how to better use or better support the spaces around them. So you can understand and you can connect with your breath, understand the importance of your breath. You don't understand the importance of your breath. Sometimes you don't understand that we are experiencing trauma until we have those conversations. That doesn't mean that it stops or it starts. It's ongoing every time we wake up, every time when we're sleeping, every time we're breathing. That's healing. We're letting go a part of our past so our future can live, and that's also scriptural. You know, Paul said, I have to die daily. That means you have to kill a part of your past so your future can live. So what we're doing is we're giving folks the tools and modalities to better support their daily existence, because healing is inevitable. As long as you live, you're going to heal. Every human being goes through a journey, a transitional journey. It just so happened that trans folks live ours out loud and it's connected to our gender, right? But every human being has a healing journey. Every human being goes through a transitional journey because our breath is a part of that thing, and it's a vital and it's essential to us in our existence. So I believe that the question for me is, when does it stop? When our bodies are no longer. That's when that healing stops, and our spirits are now leaving this physical prison called our bodies, so they can now navigate and be with the transcestors where the limits are no longer.
The limits are no longer. I absolutely love that. As long as you're living, you are going to heal. Thank you so much for that, Toy, Truth, and Dr. Lulu. And something that's on my heart that I wanna shift the discussion to is the church. I want to talk about the church, and I want to talk about the rainbow community at large, because I think in this point that I'm about to make, they are synonymous. Where do we start? And I know we could talk about this for like the next 2 years, right? Where do we start the healing journey as it relates to transgender, gender nonconforming, intersex, queer identified folks? Where do we start that journey of healing as it relates to church? Because we're still not accepted even in the affirming spaces. I'm going to call it like it TI is. And we're not fully accepted within the LGBTQIA plus area either. So some people would throw up their arms, I'm one of them, and say, you know what, I'm done with the church and I'm done with the rainbow community. I, to answer my question, have done it through therapy. My healing has gone through therapy, and I personally have been able to step back from religion and identify my spiritual path. And I bring this up because I don't think that we can heal physically unless we heal emotionally and spiritually.
Spiritually,
And
yes.
so, Dr. Lulu, what are your thoughts on that?
So I call myself a runaway Catholic. I love that sentence. It's mine. It's gonna stay. I'm a runaway Catholic. I was born, bred, buttered, and slightly burned in the Catholic Church. So definitely, I'll stay a runaway Catholic. That said, I've had to make peace with the fact that even the people in the church are human. Even the people in the church are human, and therefore 100% fallible. And my help doesn't come from them. My help comes from above, from something higher than them. I have to do that, so I'm not holding anybody else responsible for my happiness. Not the pastor, not the first lady for those whose churches have that, not the Pope in my own case, right? Not Father, Reverend Mother Julia or Father Brown. The truth is, I have to find happiness within myself. One of the talks, I was talking to Toy about this the other day. I said, I came up with this definition that self-care is self-love in action. Self-care is self-love in action. It is from the abundance of self-love that you care for yourself. And if that is the case, then it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter what the church thinks, the mosque, whoever it is that You think your boss, your parents, as a matter of fact. What does your inner child say? What does the hurt little kid there or the healed little kid say? And actually, I wanted to edit Truth's quote from earlier on when they said, hurt people hurt people. I like to say hurt people who don't get healed hurt people, because we've all been hurt, but some of us don't pass it on because we have found our healing. This is what we're talking about, healing here. And so just coming back to it's a very, very individual thing. Once you find that you can look in the mirror and stare at yourself for 30 seconds, many people can't even do that. And so when I do my self-care talks, I make people stay in the mirror. Just look at that person, make peace with that person. That's who you owe any explanation to. That's who you owe care to. That's who you owe ever. You cannot control anybody else. If you don't believe me, try that with your toddler and let me know how that went.
Try it with your toddler. Let me know how it works. Absolutely.
Holla at me tonight.
I love that edit in saying that hurt people who don't heal hurt people. I absolutely love that. And I wanna, as I come to you, Toy, for your response on this, I want to make the point of why I'm bringing this up now. So this year at the National Transvisibility March, as in years past, on that Friday, we have our Empowerment and Wellness Day. And part of that Empowerment Day is an interfaith wellness empowerment service. And so oftentimes people, or sometimes people don't like to attend things that are in a church, right? And so I want to have this conversation so that one, people know that we are cognizant of the hurt, that the harm that has been caused by the church in our community. Secondly, I want to bring it up to let people know that whatever your path is, whether you are an atheist, agnostic, Southern Baptist, Christian, Buddhist, whatever your path is, you are welcome at the Empowerment Wellness Service. And if you have a faith background or a faith walk or a spiritual journey that we have not included or covered, please email us so that we can make sure that you are seen, heard, and represented at our wellness service, because we don't want anybody to not come in the building because of the structure. We want people to come in the building where they have agreed to honor us and host us and get whatever healing, whatever wellness, whatever power and strength you need to go on, not just to the march, but beyond the march, so that you can have the tools you need to live your everyday life. And so that's why I'm bringing this up, because too often we don't have this conversation. Let's keep it real. We don't talk enough about healing, and we don't talk about the damage that the church has done and the damage that the rainbow community has done and still does to the trans and non-binary community. Bishop Toy.
Well, okay. Receive with love and gratitude. That's a big word, okay? Thank you for the segue. I've been on this journey shifting my energy. I believe that we're magnets. Whatever we feed ourselves is what we attract. And my New Year's resolution this year was to navigate with a frequency that was so high vibrational that my daily silence would please God, right? And
wait a minute, you cannot just drop that and keep going. Your daily frequency is so high that what?
Even my silence pleases God.
Go ahead. I just had to pause there because I know I wanted to make sure I got that right. That was so good.
You're magnets. Whatever we feed ourselves, we attract. So if I'm
almost tagged on that one.
Creator, always pulling in and loving and all of those things that my creator is. My creator blew that into me through breath, blew that into you. After we were formed, if that's what we believe, the creator then blew their breath into us. So everything that the creator was, the creator blew into us. So that means we occupy that. We have not because we ask not. We do not because we believe not, right? And so there's something dangerous to me about erasure. I have been taking notes, right? Just listening. There's something dangerous about erasure because representation matters. And when representation and our stories and our existences are excommunicated or silenced, exiled, and erased, that's when a whole community is oppressed. We're looking at that now. We're looking at the erasure of Black folks, our existence, our contributions, people of color, our existence and our contributions. So imagine a group of people that have been this, that have experienced this throughout civilization in Americas, right? I also, a lot of you may not know, but I'm in my MIT training course, Ministers in Training, and I did one of my first, I guess you can say a sermon or whatever. It was for Good Friday, and the title that I had to speak on, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? And to me, that started a whole level, and that started a whole journey into who I am, and not just me, but us and our purpose. The whole that Jesus saved his life for us, sacrificed his life for us. And those same people that Jesus sacrificed his life for, the same people that Jesus performed miracles for, were the people that advocated for his death. We talk about the crucifixion. We talk about the cross that Jesus had to carry and he was beaten. Understand that crucifixion that Jesus experienced, I had to make sure that I centered the room. And as I asked the question, can you imagine experiencing this crucifixion daily? And the believers said no. I said, but as a woman, as a Black woman of trans experience, this is what daily experience looks like for us. We're crucified because we're fighting to love those that don't know how to love and accept us and accept us for who we are. Because they want a leader, but we're closed-minded to what that leader will look like, right? We're closed-minded to how they will show up. So do we really want the leader? Do we really want the healer to show up? If we're policing what that's going to look like, what they will look like, and how we want to control their gifts. Religion is one of those things that's so detrimental to spirituality, because religion is man's quest to see God's image and their own image. So religion is an emphasis, is the tabernacle for humanity. It's us trying to force our idea of God in human form onto other folks. And that's why it's so deadly. So when we talk about erasure, we're talking about trans folk. We're not talked about in the Bible. That word is not there. That terminology is not there. We haven't even seen the word Black really implemented or used in the Bible. So because the representation is not there, it's easier for a group of folks to be erased, to be exiled. But the scripture also says, study to show thyself approved. And if we really dig deeper in that, we have always been there. When we talk about the eunuchs in Ethiopia, we've always been there. When we talk about those gender variant folks, those people that were able to dwell with the gifts of both and genders, we've always been there. When we talk about how Christ said, I formed you, I'm spirit, live on a human experience. We know spirit and Jesus, God says I'm spirit. Spirit has no gender. So the thing that we're doing, the disservice that we're doing, is that we're trying to put something so powerful in the box. And we need to have more conversations right now in this social political climate, especially our trans and gender diverse community members. When we were born, our very existence was so revolutionary that even as a child, they didn't know how to place us. Now that society has found out that we exist and our gifts are so amazing, now they have given us, I guess they say they're granting us the privilege of existence, so they're putting us in the box. And our very existence was to break those boxes. Before they knew us, God named us. And we have to be clear of that. Our job is not to fight for a box that's going to label us, that's going to limit our gifts. Our gifts and our job is to expand and break those boxes that they once didn't have for us, because they didn't know our gifts, because they didn't know how we show up. So now is our time to repurpose, re-strategize, and take back any limitation that they have given us, to repurpose that. Dismantle their boxes, dismantle their systems, dismantle any space that says that we're not welcome. because
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning, we are the originators. We're engineers. We're scientists.
Yes.
We're authors.
Yes.
We're bishops. We're doctors. We're leaders. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that we do the necessary work and don't wait for them to give it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have these spaces.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And I hope you saw the comments where I think it's Imani. Please forgive me if I'm not saying your name correctly. Said that you did well on your sermon.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
So I appreciate like there's so much that we could unpack in your response, right? And we will have to have more conversations at the conference when we're at in DC. um, I love this conversation because for some reason, you know, many people say the taboo things you don't talk about at the table are what? Politics and religion. And those are two areas right now that are causing great harm on the trans and non-binary community. So I would hope that we discontinue that first of all in our community, so that we can have these conversations. Because if we don't have the conversations, the healing won't happen. I called out, called on, and called in faith leaders around the nation at the Trans Day of Visibility March because, quite frankly, we're not hearing from our recognized, if you will, faith leaders in support of everything that's going on right now. And so I thank you for unpacking that, for naming all of those things. And as I come to you, Truth, I wanna ask again the same question about where we start with the church and the rainbow community, because there's so much to unpack there, but there's this disconnect, I think. And because there's so many divisions, so many segments within the segment, if you will, of the rainbow community, that the division that is coming from these executive orders, for example, keeping the L, the G, and the B, and not including the T and the Q, if you will, that division is now causing greater division within the community. In fact, I've recently heard where some in the rainbow community agree with that, and if that's your opinion, I get it. But how can we heal the already divisive nature that we have when some ears actually hear those executive orders and they run with it?
I mean, I honestly believe that's an excellent question that I personally don't have an answer to. But what I can say is I believe the first place to start is with the church, holding the church accountable. Because for most, and I can only speak for what I know, but for most people of color, Black people in particular, our foundation for spirituality came from religion. I was born in Mississippi and I was raised in Church of God in Christ. I was an ordained elder, and so religion was my key into realizing that I had a spirit. However, the church do not teach you fully who you are. They teach you how they can manipulate you, or they use your gifts, but don't really teach you how to use your gifts, if that makes sense. And so then the hurt comes because I have given my all and only to be hurt in return. Like, I've given you everything that you said that this was required based on the Bible. And then go back to what Toy say, please, if you're going to study the Bible, if religion is your thing, please study to show thyself approved, a willing worksman, able to rightly divide the word of truth. So I don't do church, I don't do religion, but I can rightly divide the word of truth, because the Bible, in my belief, is a scientific book. And if we take the principles of the Bible, we can free ourselves. Now, that's that over there. But where do we start? I think we have to hold the church accountable and have some real conversations. Will the church be willing to have those real conversations? I don't know. However, I believe that's the first place, because division started in the church. When we start doing our history study, theologians, let's do history study. We go all the way back. People started breaking off into denominations because of what? They couldn't get their point across. I ain't like what you said. I ain't like. So division started in religion. And so now here we are. We have our religion, then we have the Rainbow Coalition, and you go over there. But again, most people, most in the United States, can have a foundation of some sort in religion. And so if you go back to that foundation jacked up this where we at now, and it just keeps on going. So I go back and I still say the same thing. We have to have a real conversation with the leaders of our churches and begin to pull back those layers and have some real heart-to-heart conversations. If healing is truly what the leaders are about, then I believe those conversations will be heard, because we are all here for the same purpose. And according to the Bible, it is unconditional love that we should all be fighting for. And so how we get there is by loving each other enough to have grace with each other and telling our truths.
Wow, that is so powerful. Can you put that comment back up, Danny, please? I want to read what Pride in the Pews is doing. Thank you so much for that, Truth. Wow, like it's so much to unpack there, and I love this conversation because and let me acknowledge that this is not the only time this conversation has happened or will happen, and I hope that we can have more conversations like this. One of the things I wanted to mention is that, one of my spiritual leaders, D.E. Polk, he says religion tells you what to think. Spirituality teaches you how to think. How to think. Religion teaches you what to think. Spirituality teaches you how to think. And so I hope that at the National Trans Visibility March, we will be on the latter side in helping you learn how or further your knowing of how to think. And so from an emotional wellness perspective, from a spiritual wellness perspective, from a physical wellness perspective, we aim to give everyone in attendance tools and space on how to get what you need, not on a specific or what religion says, but whatever your religion is, whatever your denomination is, whatever your walk is. You may be, again, atheist or agnostic. We want to give the space for you to live as your highest, in the words of Oprah Winfrey, your highest, truest, most authentic self. And I wanted to acknowledge Don Abrams' point. They say Pride in the Pews is doing the work of organizing, training, and mobilizing Black faith leaders around LGBTQ plus advocacy. Thank you for all the work that you all are doing, Pride in the Pews, all the amazing work that you're doing. Please drop your website or your information in the comments so we can share it, so people can support the work that you all are doing.
And also, Dr.
Yes,
Elijah,
please go ahead, Toy.
it would be hard and impossible for me to sit in this space without saying how important it is when you have a faith-based community that supports you. I'm a part of Vision Church of Atlanta, and my bishop had a vision I saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and I ran from for years. And he has been asking me for years, or when you're ready to accept that calling, you've already been doing the work. Now it's time for community members to see how God shows up. And your very existence shifts the image of God every time you show up, your possibility model. So I want to thank Vision Church of Atlanta, my bishop, for pouring into me and transforming, creating this inclusive ministry that's breathing and birthing giants in this movement called Life and Liberation. And June the 22nd, if you're in Atlanta, it's the 18th through the 22nd, we're having our UPPC Holy Convocation. And on the 22nd, I will be getting my license as an ordained minister. So
yes, congratulations.
And so when we talk about spaces that exclude us, that's why it's important that we support inclusive spaces that affirm and support us. Because every church is not doing that. Every church is not pushing us away. But once you said something earlier, that we're using language and words that's dismantling us and that's dismantling our community. I've never read a gay Bible, never seen one. So how is there a gay church?
Yeah, I laugh facetiously because I've heard that so many times. People have said there's that.
We have to be mindful, understand the power of words. Words have navigation systems. They go where we send them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Lulu.
Before we leave, I want to add, I just want to hold space for the quote, they use your gifts. And I can't remember the rest of it, but I love that. They exploit your gifts. I mean, that is true. And as a tropical woman, a woman from Africa who loves mangoes, I want you to imagine, close your eyes and imagine a mango tree that yields fruit every day. You didn't ask it to yield the fruit. It freely yields the fruit. And you take the gift from the mango tree and you never water it, you never nurture it, you never even acknowledge that it exists. What is going to happen eventually? So this is why we see so much pain and so much hurt in the queer community for those who have given everything they can to church. I'm talking about those who have. There's a reason I'm a runaway Catholic. I used to be over the St. Vincent de Paul, which was the part that of the Catholic Church that caters to the poor and the homeless. That was me. That's why I continue that, because I'm not gonna. It's not only from the church. I have that gift in me that was given not by the church, but someone higher, something higher. Saying that also, I want to hold space for the fact that I will keep saying that because I'm a Black immigrant woman, my God is a Black immigrant woman. And because my daughter is a Black trans woman, her God is a Black trans woman. You cannot take that from me because I was made in God's image and likeness, meaning my God is at the barest minimum Black, at the barest minimum a Black woman, and more likely Black immigrant woman. I need us to separate ourselves from the God of my father who was raised in the church by missionaries who told him God was white. And to this day, my dad, who I love so much, tells me that when he thinks of God, he sees a white person. And I said to myself, Daddy, of course you see a white person because the person who told you about God was white. I want us to hold this so that let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that we cannot keep telling people that there's a white God somewhere when I am as Black as it gets. As a matter of fact, I'm not even Black, I'm chocolate or whatever shade of brown that I choose. So I don't know where we're going with that, but I just want to hold space for people that you should be allowed to think as a man think it, as a woman think it, as a person think it, meaning we all have our own ability to think. No one can think for us, which is why I love the quote about how spirituality teaches you how to think and religion teaches you what to think. That is bordering on being a cult. Someone is teaching you what to do, what to say, what to how to dress up. That is
absolutely
in a cult. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. Going back,
thank you.
Your happiness is yours. It depends on you and no one else. And from the abundance of your own self-love, you have to care for yourself and heal yourself.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Lulu. And we are out of time, y'all. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is an amazing dynamic conversation. And we want y'all to come to the National Trans Visibility March, where we will hold more of these conversations. Register at ntvmarch.org for the Policy and Safety Summit. I am going to, as we close, read one more comment. And then I'd like to hear what revolutionary thing will you be bringing to the wellness space, each of you, for the Guardians of Care Room? And so I want to go back and thank you, Imani, for giving me the correct spelling of your name. If y'all have any last minute questions, burning questions, please post them now because we get ready to wrap up. Church needs cultural humility training, education on trans identities. It can feel disrespectful in those spaces when things like pronouns don't matter. And I want to say that I think this is a beautiful space to point out our topic, which is healing is revolutionary. And I say that because thank you, Deb Dunn, for your comment, because that is a revolutionary thought to say, to act on, to know that churches need more churches, and I'll say churches, synagogues, mosques, all spaces of healing need more than religion to truly heal people. And I'll go back to, I can't remember who re-quoted you, Dr. Lulu, but it was up on the screen where you asked Dr. Lulu to repeat that what she said, that our gifts are often used but not taught and pushed on. And it is a revolutionary act of an individual who recognizes their gifts, two, recognizes when their gifts have been used to the maximum capacity. And the true revolutionary act is then walking on and leaving that space that has recognized, honored your gifts, utilized your gifts, and oftentimes holds you back for selfish gain and doesn't push you forward. You know you have a good leader when your leader builds your gifts, identifies your gifts, builds your gifts, and then pushes you on to be a butterfly. And so I want to end by asking each of you, what revolutionary act, what revolutionary thing will you bring to the Guardians of Care space, wellness space at the National Transvisibility March on June 5th in Washington, D.C.? Let's start with Truth.
Okay. I'm going to bring me. There's no one else like me. And if you have ever met me, you can attest to that. I'm going to bring my amazing energy. I'm going to bring my amazing unconditional love. And I am ready to hold space for you as you continue your healing journey.
Yes. And listen, anybody who has a conversation with you, Truth, is in for a treat. They're going to get healing in the first 5 seconds. Toy.
I'm going to bring grace, of course, intentionality, and I'm going to bring all of myself. I'm not leaving a part of me behind. I want to make sure that we create spaces that's authentic, and we create those spaces by being that to ourselves first. So I'm bringing my all into the space, so no one else feel as though they have to shrink. All is welcome because I'm bringing all of me.
All is welcome because you bring in all of you. Thank you. And as I come to you, Dr. Lulu, I want to ask those who are viewing to type in the comments, what revolutionary act will you bring, not just to the healing space, but to the march this year? What revolutionary act will you bring? Dr. Lulu.
So thank you so much for the question. Thank you for the space. I'm a speaker. When I was born, I think I was born talking. I used to get in trouble all the time for talking too much when I was growing up. And today I get paid thousands of dollars for using that. And so I'm going to bring talk. And I made this up during my first TED Talk, I came up with this acronym. T is for tuning in to the proper dial. Where are you right now? Tune in to that space, self-awareness. A is ask yourself the most important question. What is this thing trying to teach me? What is this thing trying to tell me? What am I supposed to learn from this? L, leave the door open for answers to come in, because sometimes we ask questions and then we don't leave the door open for the answers to come in. And then K, self-kindness, or better still, knowledge about yourself, knowledge about where you are, and knowing that not everybody's advice may be fitting for you, and that's okay also. As a life coach, I ask people to empower themselves first. So come with talk, TALK, tune in, ask questions, leave the door open, and know thyself. Thank you.
Oh, know thyself. Bloop. Yes,
Come on now.
at the same time. That was so good. Listen, I want to just say thank you to everyone. I will say what I am bringing to the National Trans Visibility March at large this year is the mindset of there's a Buddhist principle that says be open to everything and attached to nothing. Open to everything and attached to nothing. And so I come with zero expectations other than a wonderful experience for everyone who comes in whatever space you are in. I want to thank each of you for gracing this platform. I want to thank Marissa Miller, our founder of the National Trans Visibility March, for helping provide this space. I gotta say thank you to our team, Danny behind the scenes. Danny has made the technology piece look so easy. Thank you to Antoinette. Thank you to all of our strategy directors and everybody. Listen, this is not just me. You may see my face on a lot of stuff, but it is like 20 plus people that is making this whole experience happen. And I would be remiss if I did not say thank you and show gratitude. Thank you, Truth. Thank you, Dr. Lulu. Thank you, Bishop Toy. We will see y'all right back here next Monday at 12 o'clock sharp. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing afternoon.
Toodles.
You ready to march?
We are so excited to be here and to be in year 5. And I want to tell you that I thank you for being here. I love you guys. We will march. When I say trans, you say power. Trans, 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 trans.
I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.